Okay, in this video, we're looking at William II, otherwise known as William Rufus, King of England. Now, he rules for 13 years between 1087 and 1100. He is the last of William the Conqueror's kids born in Normandy before the invasion in between 1056 and 1060. There are disputes about the date of birth. He had two older brothers, Robert, Duke of Normandy, and Richard. Now, at this point, you're not called Prince of Wales, you're just called the heir to the throne. Prince of Wales is not actually a thing because Wales is full of the princely nations and they all fight each other. So Wales hasn't been conquered by England yet. Richard dies in 1075. Now Henry's the youngest brother and he's born after the conquest, so he's a baby. He's William the Conqueror's favourite son, even though he only gets money, no land, because he's the youngest and therefore he's still in his younger years. He's crowned after his father's untimely death at the siege of Mantes, obviously blowing up his bladder on the pommel of his saddle. And within a year, his brother Robert rebels in 1088 with the help of his uncle Odo of Bayeux, the Bishop of Bayeux. Yes, a bishop involved in warfare. Who would have thought that? Yeah. So he tries to seize the throne. He loses. William manages to win and defeat Robert in battle and imprisons him. Doesn't kill him. He imprisons him. So he never sees the light of day. And Duke of Normandy reverts back to the English crown, which it will remain with for quite some time to come. Anyway. All this is going on. He has a strained relationship with the church throughout his entire reign due to his appointment of who he wanted to be Archbishop of Canterbury. The church wanted a different candidate and he wanted his own candidate. It's a very long, complicated, ecclesiastical thing. And this is at the time when the Scottish invasion comes of actually the First Crusade. So England doesn't really send many knights on the First Crusade, which is also a strained relationship with the church because Pope Urban II saying his call to arms. And he doesn't really listen because he wants all as many knights as possible to fight his wars. There's a Scottish invasion in 1091 by Malcolm III. That is defeated, which ends up in a result of Carlisle Castle being built in 1092. What the castle you see today is completely different from the castle that was there originally. It would be a Motte and Bailey castle made out of wood, but Carlisle Castle is built and that gives control of what is now Cumbria to the English crown. Before then it was a weird lawless borderland, and that brings a bit more law and order to that part of the world in northwest England. He also decides to have a little foray into Wales twice. He invades Wales twice as well, trying to, again, expand his kingdom and his dominions. But you've got to remember, in 13 years, he's in constant warfare. There is no peace in England at this time, in the sense that it's basically constant demands on the landed peasantry and the new nobles as well to give men and supplies and money to his campaigns. Which does get a bit tiresome. He also goes and campaigns in France, much like his father did, for 2 years. Now, France at the time is not the France we know today. France at the time is Normandy is part of England. Brittany is almost a separate country in itself. Burgundy is a separate country. Aquitaine. The French kingdom is actually very, very small. But he wants to gain lands in France to extend his dominion over the French lands, which is what basically happens between England and France. They don't like each other from now till 1815. Anyway, in 1100 he's planning another invasion to France in Aquitaine, which becomes more important later on in both English and French history. It's a very important region. Eleanor of Aquitaine is a very important historical figure, so we'll come back to Aquitaine at a later date. He's killed hunting in the New Forest, much like his brother. Suspicious circumstances involve both deaths. Now, people assume that William had Richard bumped off, and people assume that Henry had him bumped off. Walter Tyrrell is the knight who kills him, either by accident or by deliberate intent, with an arrow into the chest. All the nobles with William desert him and leave his body by the side of the road. Now, the New Forest was actually set up by his father, and the New Forest at the time would actually probably be more heathland. Forest basically means royal enclosure. So Windsor Great Park was part of the New Forest, stretching from all the way from Windsor Castle down to the south coast in Hampshire. Where I live in Berkshire was part of the old New Forest until I would say about the 1500s, because there's not much history about this. I'll do the history of my local town later on in another video. All the nobles leave him. His body is found by peasants and is dumped in the back of a cart to be taken for burial. Henry has already taken on to Winchester and is crowned 2 days later. He seizes the royal treasury and gets himself crowned. So there you go. That is the rule of William Rufus. The reason why he probably dies is, firstly, he has issues with the church and they control a lot of money. That makes him very unpopular. And warfare from 1088 pretty much to 1100. That's 12, 13 years of pretty much constant warfare, which is a drain on the economy of the country and drain on the manpower. Considering that the country is basically gone from Saxon or Danish Saxon rule to Norman rule in 21 years previously. By the time he dies, the country is changing. The Normans are now fully in charge. They are a bloody dynasty. They do like killing each other and other people. There's a lot of murder in this period of time. His brother dies mysteriously. His own grandfather was assassinated, and some people believe it was an accidental murder, but he dies suspiciously in the New Forest himself, and Henry is crowned king within 2 days. He has a very cheap funeral. Later on, he does get given a proper burial slab and a burial location, but his funeral, they just dump him in a grave. Yeah, very unglorious end to a king. He dies unmarried and has no children as well. So his young brother Henry becomes Henry the First. Now I'm going to leave that there. A lot of people don't realise that William Rufus was a bit of a warrior king. He's a very forgotten king in English history. He does repel a Scottish invasion. He does do some important things in the north of England. He's a great soldier, not a great administrator. He's not a very popular man because of his demands for his armies. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.